It's been said before, and I'll say it again. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. So where would you rather be than right here and right now on the Ralph Rant? Let's go.
Welcome to the Ralph Rant, your source for hard-hitting Buffalo Bills takes. Now, here's your host of the Ralph Rant, that veteran watcher of generations of Bills teams, the prophet who predicted Josh Allen's greatness, that opinionated so-and-so you've walked out on parties because of, the Ralph.
Welcome to the Ralph Rant. My mouse sucks because we're just getting now to the intro theme, which, oh, there it's going to play, so we'll let it go. I'm like clicking and clicking. The mouse is nervous. We're all nervous. It's game day. Let's just relax to the sweet strains of the Ralph Rant theme here for a moment. Welcome in. Hope you have your coffee ready. Got my patented Bills mug here. The only thing I drink coffee out of anymore are mugs that actually keep stuff warm. Living in the cold here. Anyway, there's the theme, and we are here. Welcome in. It's game day. It is now 11:32 p.m. We can actually get some inactives here. See if they're announced yet. They should be out. I will say I saw a couple of points already on the injuries. All right, I don't see any inactives yet here. When you guys see him, come out with them. I think the one thing that we did see of most note this morning was the fact that Ty Johnson showed up wearing a boot this morning. Frank Gore Jr. has been elevated for this playoff game. And I'm not so sure that Frank Gore Jr. couldn't be a weapon for the Bills today. We know what he's capable of. We've seen it. He's never really got much of a chance in the regular season. Now he will have a chance in the postseason. So we've got a few of you in here already. We're gathering the troops here. Here, let me get back out of this. This mouse I've got to replace. Keeps on jumping. Got your comments going already. The first one in was Badass 67, so ready, go Bills. And then Black Cloud, who brings his black cloud of doom with him, saying tons of people are already counting out the Jags as if the Bills will steamroll them. That's when teams are the most dangerous. I'm not worried about the Bills' offense. What defense shows up today? We've been watching this Bills defense for a few weeks here. That's actually been quite good. How were they against the Eagles? That second half performance in stopping the run. Yeah, certainly there's money that's moved over to the other side. We know why betting lines are what they are. They are actually based on the wise guys trying to attract equal amounts of money on both sides of the bet. That's where they make their money. So the fact that the Bills are now an underdog, that actually makes me kind of happy because we have learned. We've got more lovely stuff from Black Cloud here. What's the latest injury report? Who's in or who's out? Yeah, we do know that Prater is going to go today. I think it just stiffened up on him a little bit in the cold. They were being precautionary with that last week. And so I'm not particularly worried about that situation. Ty Johnson will be missed, but the Bills will make up for that. Jaguars are now the favorites, so don't think anyone is counting them out. Yes, Badass, that is absolutely correct, as I just reported. Ty Johnson not looking good to play. Ray Davis is going to be key. Yes, Ray Davis will be key today. And Ray, of course, has been doing much better as this season has gone along. I think the kickoff return business has got him sparked, and now he's actually showed really well. He's catching the ball out of the backfield. I think he'll be a weapon today. Norm, the Bills fan, is with us. Let's effing go, Buffalo. Black Cloud. Oh, did the points move already? Yep, they did. No game will be easy. We saw how these wild cards were yesterday. Unbelievable games with the Rams just getting by the the plucky Panthers, I guess you would have to call them. That was very close. And then how does Green Bay? They just let off the gas. The Green Bay gets up, 21-6 on Chicago, and then just doesn't do anything in the second half. I'm sorry, I don't think either one of those teams are going anywhere anyway. Good morning and go Bills from Billy W. Leet. Welcome in the house. Hope you got your coffee going. Here's to you guys. Boy, this mouse is just terrible. I'm going to have to replace this thing. I'm trying to get your comments to show up. I actually missed a couple of them here. Let me get back up here. All right, Billy the Buffalo is with us. Go Bills. Bernard is inactive, as we would have guessed with him showing up in a booth. Thank you for that, badass. Mark is in the house. Morning, Ralph. Well, morning, Mark. Thank you very much for being here, guys. We're going to go just about an hour today, actually. We're going to get you to 12:30 when the coverage actually starts and concentrates and we get the words from the stadium. Let's get to the weather here while we're waiting. That's one thing we do know about. Actually, let's go through the rest of your comments here, get caught up. Gore Jr.'s first game will be in the playoffs. Talk that up. I wonder who his father must have talked to him this morning. That's got to be great. I feel confident about our passing attack with Kincaid ready to go. Bills over Jags, 35-22. Jeff, I will take that. I will take that. All right, we're caught up in the comments. Let's get to the weather. And I use a little app called My Radar on my iPhone. It's free. It's great. They like you to contribute if you can. But what we've been seeing all yesterday afternoon was the front that has been descending upon the southeast. It got up to about 81 degrees yesterday in Jacksonville. This front is currently moving through Jacksonville this morning. And this morning prior to the game, that's a 20%, or I think it's 20 or 30% probability of precipitation. They call that POPs in the weather business. 20% chance of rain, but it will turn mostly sunny, but the high will be limited to a very comfortable 65 degrees. So the Jaguars will not benefit from putting the Bills into what they might consider a hot stadium when they're a cold weather team coming to the South. So, and again, if you watched my video where I gave my top 5 reasons why the Bills would win, number 2 was, number 4, counting down, actually, was that the Bills not only have a rest advantage over the Jaguars, because the Jaguars had to play last week, and they were actually getting handled by the Titans before they went and injured Cam Ward as he dove in for the first touchdown of the game, and Cam Ward had to come out. And then the Titans went on to beat Brady Allen, playing quarterback for the Titans, 41-7. Well, karma's a bitch because there's another quarterback named Allen coming into the stadium today to settle that score. But back to the weather here, the biggest thing with this frontal passage is the fact that there will be a northwest wind, 15 to 17 miles per hour, with gusts to 25 miles per hour. And that is happening because this front has just come through. It's also why the temperatures are dropping. And you wait and see how many people will be in jackets in the stands, because unless they're from Buffalo, which they'll probably be bare-chested in this balmy 65 if you've come from Buffalo. But moreover, the Jacksonville Jaguars throw the ball a lot more than they run the ball. And when they throw the ball, a lot more of it is downfield than intermediate stuff. And they do not usually deal with these gusts. So, again, I think the Bills not only have the rest advantage because Jacksonville had to play last week, and the Bills rested their starters versus the Jets, but Jacksonville had to beat the Titans in order to secure the AFC South, because had they not, the Texans, with their win, actually would have won that division. if the Jaguars had lost. So the Jags had to play, and the Bills did not. So there's your rest advantage. And then the environmental advantage I called out. I don't know if I explained it well enough on the video, but when you've been playing 6 weeks of cold weather games, 6 weeks of cold weather games, snow on the ground, rain, wet footballs, all the impediments. And now those are gone. I mean, you know how you feel if you have spent a cold winter and actually then decide to get out of the cold and go take a quick week down in Florida. Don't go too early because it's usually chilly like this. But even getting to where you can walk out and not have a jacket, how great does that make you feel? How do you think that's going to make these Buffalo Bills feel? Pardon me. Stepping out onto a dry field, warm temperatures, dry ball. Yeah, I'll be ready. 63 degrees today, according to Robert Leader. Robert, welcome to the house. And guys, if you are new to the podcast, as you well know, it only takes a nanosecond to hit the subscribe button and add yourself to the Ralph Rant. As we proceed on through this Super Bowl tournament and then into the offseason, you'll get all the action here at the Ralph Rant. And indeed, the subscriber count is growing. We're nearly to 1,500 now. And I've got to tell you, I mentioned already, and many of you I know saw the video I put out on the top 5 reasons the Bills would defeat the Jaguars today. And my goodness, I have never seen so much hate mail from Jags fans. And it was really, really funny to see. I did not respond to a bit of it. You don't do that on YouTube. You don't give them that. But it was quite funny. Comments like, "This bastard, I can't wait till this game plays," or "I'm going to be coming back to this channel." And they may well. You know, anything can happen. This is football. It's the greatest team sport on the planet. There's only one shot, only 60 minutes of game. Yes, anything can happen. But the Jags fans, if they were dismissing my comments as just being homerism and fluff to be laughed at, but no, it got under their skin. I'm happy. And if you're a Jags fan, welcome in. We got some more comments going. Here, let's catch up to where we were. There we were, 63 degrees. Gore Sr. and Jr. are and were Bills, you bet. That was from Badass 67. Jeff, Steven, is McDermott on the hot seat today for his job security? I honestly don't think so. I think if anybody's on the hot seat, it would have to be Brandon Beane. And the reason I state that is that if Brandon Beane had not gone out and tried to get Darius Slay without checking in dark corners to find out if he really wanted to come to the team, which I guess he's unable to do, then Buffalo would not have released Jamarcus Ingram. And if Buffalo had not released Jamarcus Ingram, he would have been on the field against the Jets last week rather than Max Hairston. And I don't like not having Max Hairston today. But alas, he will be back. And also the fact that McDermott knows how to run secondary. The Bills still have the number 1 pass defense in the league. And the Jaguars throw it a lot more. Now, the Jaguars pass defense, they're like 21st, I think, defending the pass. But again, you know, I made the statement about the Patriots when I said the Bills would get their 10th win, and here's 10 reasons why, and indeed they did. Now, that might not happen today, but some of the same things apply. The Jaguars were 4-13 last season, just like the Patriots. The Jaguars played a 3rd-place schedule this season. The Patriots, similarly, playing a 4th-place schedule. I looked at the last 6 games that the Jaguars have played. They had what? The Colts twice. I think they had the Titans twice in there. I mean, the strength of schedule the Jaguars played in the last 6 games was .343 cumulative. That is, the opponents they played in the last 6 games cumulatively at the end of the season ended up winning 1 out of 3 of those games in that span of 6 games. The Bills, on the other hand, played at .529, or it was over 500, whatever the Bills played in their opponents. The Bills went 5-1. The Jaguars went 6-0. I got accused by Jaguars fans of saying, "Oh, this son of a bitch hasn't watched a single Jags game." Guys, I watch all the games, okay? I've got the NFL Sunday ticket. I've held it since the late 90s. I'm probably amongst the most tenured people in the NFL Sunday ticket. And now with YouTube TV handling the Sunday ticket and the way the games are presented, where I don't have to worry about which games I record, it's one click and every single NFL game the entire season is recorded. I watch all the games. And I watched last Sunday, too, with the Jaguars in a must-win situation against the Titans. And I'm sorry. I know the final score was 41-7. But you were playing a backup quarterback with the Titans. I mean, you also played, Phillip Rivers with the Titans. With the Colts, rather. You knocked Daniel Jones. Well, you didn't knock him out. Daniel Jones just snapped his Achilles tendon in that game, and Riley Leonard came in. That was Riley Leonard's first NFL action. And then Riley Leonard played his first full game as an NFL quarterback versus the Texans last week. And I didn't see much from the Texans either. I am not impressed with these division winners and wild cards from the AFC South. All right, today, if it happens, if the Bills get blown out, I'll be here. I'm always here to stand up for it. But getting off that comment or finishing that comment to Jeff, no, I don't think McDermott's on the hot seat today. Cecil McDog, what are you doing, brother? Good to see you here. I'm not worried about the weather much, more about the travel. Thankfully, it's the same time zone, though. I think the Bills staff is very, very good with the hydration. That is not a long flight down to Jacksonville from Buffalo. I mean, we're not going all the way to Miami. That's another hour of airtime down to Miami. They get down there in about an hour and a half or so. On the time zone point, yes, absolutely taken. Badass is here. 65 is a high for the game this time of year, but it's still cool. Any rain makes it feel cooler. And there will be some overcast early. And indeed, we're still near the winter solstice, where the sun was at its lowest. That's only like 3 weeks ago. I mean, the weather is not going to be a problem in terms of overheating the Bills. That is what I would have worried about the most, and that's not going to be the case. Any place is better than Buffalo. It's so cold, you take a shower before you can get into your car, your hair is frozen. Well, actually, I'm surprised it hasn't been as cold. Of course, I'm in Southeast Michigan. We get our weather about 8 to 10 hours before Buffalo does. They get the same weather. And it's cooler today, about 26, but there was no snow on the ground yesterday. I was out chopping wood, dragging big chunks out of the forest that I had chainsawed up a few weeks ago, doing some splitting, got the firewood built up, got a really good workout at it. Guys, I tell you what, that's the best workout you could ever have. I will never be on a treadmill. I will never do Tai Chi or whatever the hell they do. And I don't like playing pickleball because I'm too competitive and you could piss people off too easily. Who's out for Jacksonville? Well, we can get that injury report in the actives today. Let's get the Jaguars inactives. They have to turn those in an hour and a half before. Those should be well out. And, oh, here we go. This is from the Bills here, and we've actually got Bills inactives are Terrell Bernard, Darnell Savage, who got hurt, he's new. Ty Johnson, of course, as we expected. Max Hairston, as we expected. Tylen Grable, Kaleki Latu, and Larry Ogunjobi. And that's interesting to me on Ogunjobi. Ogunjobi had been looking decently of recent, but I think this clearly indicates that Daquan Jones is back in there. And I think the Bills have really liked what they've seen from Fedarian Mathis recently. Josh Palmer, what a disaster that's been for Josh Palmer. He has been placed on IR, and who else but Balin Spector is back for the playoffs in his spot. Bills also elevated defensive end Andre Jones Jr. and running back Frank Gore Jr. from the practice squad. So, very interesting. I thought they were going to give us here the Jaguars side of things. No, I guess they wouldn't do that. Let's go look that up right now. Jaguars inactives today. Cole Van Lanen and 5 others. Now, Cole Van Lanen is a loss to them. I believe that's their left tackle. He has been having some problems. That's going to put Walter Little, I believe, in the... Yeah, Cole Van Lanen, left tackle. Tight end Hunter Long is inactive. Running back DJ Dallas is inactive. De'Ami Brown is inactive. Defensive tackle Mason Smith and defensive end Emmanuel Agba. So, yeah, there's some issues there. And truthfully, the defensive ends for Jacksonville are pretty good. So that's a loss for them because they lose some of their rotation. They're not quite as strong on the interior as they are. Of course, they'll still have Josh Allen Hines, of course, on one end, and I'm forgetting the name of their other defensive end. He was the first-round pick a few years ago. All right, Pez79 is in the house. Go Bills. Jeff, Jags fans are very confident of beating Josh Allen. Do you think Josh will have a big game today? Josh Allen is the most prolific NFL quarterback in terms of stats in quite a long time. With some, I mean, he has got in his 13 playoff starts, and we know he's 7-6, but regrettably, he is not made of titanium and can't play defense also. But in those 13 starts in the postseason, Josh Allen is thrown for 25 touchdowns with 4 interceptions. And the core of this team is seeing a lot of playoff games. They have a lot of playoff experience. I'm sorry, this Jaguars team is riding an 8-game winning streak, and they're walking the razor's edge with this because they've been beating poor competition for the most of it. And I know it gets thrown up to me that even though I threw up to the opposing side on this conversation, that they beat the Jets 47-20. Well, the Bills beat them 35-8 with all second-string players. The Jaguars were playing all their ones. But then I hear, well, yeah, but the Jaguars beat the Broncos. Broncos schmonkos. I don't think much of Bo Nix. And I think that's another situation with a team playing not a first-place schedule and having won a bunch of games. And yes, their winning streak got broken. Winning streaks were made to be broken. The Bills, on the other hand, that game versus the Eagles, yeah, they lost. Had they won, they'd have been the 5 seed, with all other things being the same. And if they were the 5 seed, that would probably have them heading to Pittsburgh on Monday night, where in Mike Tomlin's career, I believe it is, as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, on Monday nights at home, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 23-0. Then the Houston Texans have to go there, though. I'd much rather have this. I think this is the more fragile team. I think this win today is going to have an effect. And the Bills' defense has quietly gotten a lot better here late in the season. There's still this notion, and I really like hearing that this notion exists. No, the Bills can't stop the run. They held Saquon Barkley. One of his lowest totals. And although the Eagles' defense is pretty good, Josh Allen and company, in the second half, really started to take it to him. And certainly Josh had to be bothered by that foot still. But he's had 2 weeks now because he went out and handed the ball off once last week and trotted back to the sideline. So, yes, I think Josh will have a big game today. This is the playoffs. And a lot of this, it's about belief. It's what these guys are visualizing. It's how close they are. When Sean McDermott talks about the toughness of the team, yes, certainly you can use the term toughness to talk about, a guy gets hit and he got right up. He didn't get hurt. He's tough. That's not what McDermott is talking about. It's mental toughness. It's how the Bills respond when they're in an adversarial situation. I think Bean has to go no matter what. McDermott's job is in jeopardy if they don't at least make the Super Bowl. No Mahomes, no Burrow, no Lamar in your way. That's a dream come true. Perhaps. But let's talk about that after the season's over. Yes, thank you much. Puckhead, 1221. Jags Van Lanen is questionable. The rest are active. I've got them as inactive here. Maybe you've got something different. When did this information come out? January 11th at 11:30 a.m. So, Van Lanen is not questionable. He is inactive with an injury. Again, along with tight end Hunter Long, running back DJ Dallas, wide receiver De'Ami Brown, defensive tackle Mason Smith, and defensive end Emmanuel Ogbah. Jimmy Jam, welcome in, brother. All the sports commentators are picking the Jags. Can't wait to make them eat their words. I hope Josh lights it up today. Yeah, they are. If YouTube has done anything great, it is the fact that YouTube is given stages and audiences to podcasts such as this one, but many, many others that are excellent. We all know Locked On Bills with Joe Marino, certainly. And some of the other great Bills podcasts, but they are all over the country. And what they do is they dig in and find the real information and take a look. One thing I'm really happy about, maybe it only has to be once more, where we have to listen to Kirk Herbstreit. Because I listened to him in a couple of college games last week, this week, and then the last night, and half the time he's calling out, oh, yeah, that happened in the end zone, but 7 was there. What do you mean 7? Isn't this your profession? Haven't you studied these guys' names? Don't you know who the fuck is on the field? Really? Sorry for the expletive, especially with any of you youngsters listening. But seriously, do your job. Know who in the hell is on, who has what number. Don't be calling out players by number. And I heard him do it yesterday too. I'm so glad that Amazon at least is out of business in terms of the playoffs for the rest of this season. We might have to listen to Kirk Herbstreit once more for the national championship game. But I'll tell you what, and it's a shame, it won't be Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy. Remember Greg is former Bills backup quarterback from a few years back? That's a great announcing team. But I digress. Go Bills from Westland, Michigan. Tom Klein, welcome to the show. I hope you subscribe. I'm not too far from you. I am at the top center of Oakland County. Simple Living in Georgia. Josh will run for at least 2 touchdowns. Coke will have over 100 yards, and I predict we get at least 1 turnover. Go Bills from Georgia. I like those predictions. And I'm glad you mentioned the one on Cook, because the Jaguars, for all this, they've taken away the ball some, but for all this defensive prowess and their run-stopping capability, again, who have they done it against? The Bills not only have James Cook, who owns the rushing title for the NFL, but the team as a whole, now James Cook rushed for 1,621 yards, I believe. The entire team rushed for 2,714 yards. It's like another 900 yards or so. That's the other backs. That's Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, the wide receivers. Dawson Knox, even, if he'd been able to hang on to that end-around handoff. But other than that, I mean, the Jaguars have held their opponents. They haven't allowed a single rusher to exceed 75 yards. But the Jaguars are demonstrably not really great against inside zone. And Buffalo is the best zone running team in the league. But with Chrome as the offensive line coach and he's the running game coordinator, he'll throw in some gap in there. Ray Davis is going to have it in his mind to go ahead and step up today. So I'd keep your comments off. I got to catch. This is why I need a producer. All right, here we go. Cecil, and I hope Gore has a breakout game, although he probably won't get many touches. I don't know. We'll see. Jeff, is the manager of the Ralph Rant merchandise department, Taylor Salty, watching the game with you? No, in fact, she is not. And she is at school this weekend. And in fact, I've got to just throw one more little good thing into this. That every time Taylor Salty is unable to watch a Bills game due to a commitment on stage in her theater program she's in at Wayne State University, the Bills have won. Last year, there was a show we had to go to. I had to watch it half in the car, half out in the lobby, and then wait till afterwards. She saw it in the green room almost the same time I did after her show was over, and that's when the Bills beat the Colts there. And then it happened this season with the Patriots game. I had to leave because she had a performance. She was actually directing that day, and it was very cool to see. And so I'm watching it on the phone on the drive down. Mrs. Ralph is driving. And then I get there, and we're waiting around to go in, and I'm watching it and so forth. Once I even signaled to her if she peeked for backstage on something, and the Bills won that game. And there's been other examples of it, but today she is rehearsing from 12 until probably close to the end of the game. And yeah, there was one other that the Bills won where her and Mrs. Ralph were doing something because, again, she had a school thing going. But indeed, the Bills always seem to win when she can't watch it. That is the case today. Terry Todd is in the house. Agba is healthy scratch because Danny Ostrigo is back from injury. Okay. Good point. Good point to know. Go Bills. Now is money. A lot of new names in the house. Glad to see you guys in here. Who we got? We've got 47 in the house right now. 32 of you are over or here on YouTube, actually, and another 15 over on X. You guys on X? Go over and crank into YouTube really quick. You can watch the stream there and hit subscribe. And indeed, if you are on X, go ahead and follow me. Thank you very much. So I ran a couple of you off right there with that comment. Hello, Bills Mafia. Bills 31, Jags 24 from Jason Bush. Jason, my man, welcome in. Good to hear your voice, hear your voice. It's your voice on screen here, of course. Where are we here in the comments? Let's keep them going. Go Bills, now is money. Hope Allen's foot is 100%. He needs to run the ball today. Yeah, I'm sure he's pretty good. Word of the day will be Bosa. Yeah, Bosa and Groot. And, one thing to know is that the Prince, Trevor Lawrence, holds onto the ball on average about 2.75 seconds. And part of the reason is that he throws downfield more. And it takes those routes longer to develop. Now, the Bills' passing defense has been tops in the league, and they know how to handle this. But it's going to be tougher for Lawrence throwing downfield. There's going to be gusts today. This is a front passing through northern Florida. And, it's making its way through right now. And so I think that is going to definitely have an impact. But that longer time he takes to get rid of the football is going to allow the Bills pass rush to do some things. And I also believe that the Bills, and you can say this is wishful thinking or whatever else, I'm not so sure. I believe the Bills keep some stuff in the trick bag and don't show what's going on. I'm sure there was nothing they loved more than be able to put all the twos out in the field against the Jets last week. Get those guys some confidence and sit and continue to not show anything until you get to this game. There will be some different things we see today. Carter Loudermilk is with us. I think we beat them because we have 17 and they don't. And indeed, Mr. Loudermilk, that is precisely was my number one reason. And I'll go through the 5 of them again for you. First of all, number 5, counting down, the Jaguars' winning streak is fragile. They've built it up feeding on weaker teams. Teams I earlier gave you the winning percentage composite, basically the strength of schedule that the Jaguars played over the last 6 games, of .343. The Bills played a 5.29 schedule and went 5-1, losing only to the world champions because Josh somehow didn't get that throw there, which I still believe might have been the best thing to ever happen to the Bills. Now, I might be eating my Ralph hat after this game because I don't want to be a blowhard, which I am, or overconfident, which I seem. But the fact is that this winning streak is fragile. I just think it's fragile. And the teams that they have played, what they have been feeding on, this is not the Tennessee Titans today. Nor is it the Denver Broncos. That was reason number 5. Reason number 4 was the rest advantage and the environmental advantage the Bills have. Of course, the Bills did not have to put their starters out in the field last week. Indeed, and they're paying for it a little bit today. The Jaguars did in order to make sure they won that game against the Titans to secure the division. Then the next reason I believe was, the rushing dominance that the Bills have had. And to me, nothing crumbles faster than supposedly great defenses when you get into the playoffs. And I think the Bills are going to be able to run the ball today. And they haven't let a back run for more than 75 yards. We'll see. We will see. As the Schwamby once said, Chris Berman, a huge Bills fan in his own right, who invented the term, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, as he always says, playing the role of the Schwam, that's why they play the games. So we'll play this game today. But yes. Now, the next reason, of course, after the rushing dominance is, of course, the strength of schedule, which I've talked about a number of times here. Who they played, the quarterbacks they played, the experience level of the quarterbacks they played doesn't match up. But then finally, the last reason is the Buffalo Bills have Josh Allen, and the Jacksonville Jaguars do not. Do not. Josh Allen is proven to be prolific in the playoffs. And Josh Allen hasn't had to go out on the road in the opening round of the playoffs since 2019, his second season, when the Bills went down and played Houston and ended up losing that game. But there's scores to settle. There's a score to settle for that. There's a score to settle for the injuries the Bills incurred when they went and played him in London. And frankly, the Bills screwed up the timing of their travel tremendously there. There's a score to be settled for losing 9-3 or 6, whatever it was, when Urban Meyer was coaching these jokers. Yeah, there's a lot of fire on that side of the ball. Liam Cohen, remember early in the season, he actually wanted to go Dukes with, who in the hell was it? Was it the, I forget, it was the Saints. No, I forget who it was actually, but he wanted to go Dukes. It was after the game. He was ready to fight the opposing coach. Funny stuff. But that was my number one reason. The Bills have Josh Allen. And the Bills' core is playoff tested. They have been there. There's a state of mind, and there is something with the experience of this team and how, because what really happens in playoff games is that when something goes wrong, it can tend to exponentially escalate because of the stakes of the game. And where the Bills are good is that they have demonstrated, amongst other things, that they have the mental toughness that when the adversity comes, they've dealt with it. And they've tested themselves so many times this season with it. I mean, we did not see the string of blowout wins by the Bills this season. I mean, go back, we talked about the Bills' December record. I mean, go back a few years and look at the blowouts they were putting on people in December. Didn't see that this year. This team is more finely tuned for the playoffs than earlier ones have been. And someone will say, well, that's utter nonsense. They don't have nearly as good a roster. It's just like all these people that were commenting on the video. I mean, you think this team is better or think that team is better? It's not about which team is better. It's which team plays today. It is the playoffs. It's a different story. The Jaguars are called the hottest team in the league right now. They are darlings. In fact, CBS Sports has got them all the way to the Super Bowl because, of course, they already beat Denver. And, I can understand that, but it's getting back probably to that point I never finished about Kirk Herbstreit calling out just players' numbers during a game. The national guys have to look at the entire league, and they don't get down and find out the deeper stuff, the real truth of what's going on. You look at the numbers. Yes, the Bills, I don't know if they're still 31st in rushing. They had some big rushing numbers put on them earlier in the season. But it's not happened as of late. And this team, again, I believe is tuned, just right. I mean, if you're playing in December like you should be playing in January, can you bring that into January? That's a tough question. For a number of years, Bills had done that. And then you'd see the Bills play great in January, be coming off beating teams by big numbers. I mean, really clowning them. You know the games I'm talking about. Over Denver, over Miami. The 45-13 type of things. That's just the hypothetical number. We haven't seen that this season. Especially in December. Because I think the team this season, and this hive mind I've talked about, is it's tempered things. It's just trying to sneak up on it to the exact right moment to jump on it. And it starts today in 42 minutes. I'm not going to keep you guys much longer because I know you want to get set up. Let's get to the rest of your comments, though, certainly. Donald Ohina is here. Let's go, Buffalo. Cecil McDonald, I'm glad Prater is playing. Hopefully his leg is 100%. I'm going to go through him quick here. The Bills' defense plays better with Shaq on the field. Yes, very happy to hear that he is. Thanks, Cecil, on that. Jeff, Steven in the locker room before the game. I pray Josh throws a chair through a window and shouts, "Go Bills." I just believe that they're ready. And people think they're going to lose, and they're actually an underdog now. Although they started out the fave. And they started out the fave because the wise guys already know what I know. But the betting public doesn't. Even the national press covering the NFL, because there's so much information and they just don't get down to the bottom and actually get the details and actually take a real close look at what's happening. That's why you've got the Ralph Rant and other such programs. And again, guys, if you're new here, I'm seeing new names. For example, Taryn Todd. It must be fun to have a quarterback like Josh Allen because no matter what problems the team has, the fans still feel supremely confident. Jaguars haven't had that since Brunell. And Brunell was a hell of a quarterback. Taryn, thanks for that comment. Good point. We have Go Bills from Blockadity. That's good. I like that. I like these names that are actually defeating YouTube's propensity to stick numbers. Bluesbender is with us. Adversity and resilience define a Super Bowl winning team. That is absolutely true. Let's get through more of these really fast. Long winning streaks going into the postseason are meant to be broken as well. Yes, indeed. Black Cloud. Obviously, a Bills win would be ideal. What would even be more ideal is a win without any injuries. And if there are injuries, no major ones to keep players going forward. You bet. I think the announcers today are Nancy and the Mo. Bills usually get them when on CBS. Yes, I know. At times, I might even just tend to turn them off. I'll sometimes even sit and call the game as we're going on my own. And sometimes when I get sick of listening to you know who, I roam away from the sound portion, the audio presentation of the game. Blues Bender and a defense that does not give it up 100 yards rushing is about to face a real running game. Yes, absolutely. One of my reasons. Hey, Black Cloud, you mean there's no Andy Reid or Harbaugh because Josh doesn't play against other quarterbacks? He plays against other defenses? Well, I know that point. And yeah, people saying that Josh can't succeed in the playoffs, that's a ridiculous comment. Why is our mouth Twimpy boys? Well, I don't know if you are a Twimpy boy or if you're making fun of Twimpers, to use a term. Been a while since I was here. Ready for the game. Go Ralph and go Bills. Thanks to Beyond. Hey, yes, haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for being here. Quickly, we're blasting through these. We just got a few minutes left. More people need to hit that like button. Thank you very much. I don't get to see the likes because I am not looking at the YouTube output of it. Yes, smash that like button. It helps the channel so much. And you guys that are always here, just do that right now really quick. Listen to Badass. Thank you, sir. And, of course, if you're new, hit that subscribe button as well as the like button. Lots of laugh. The princess. I usually call him Goldilocks. Brooke Shields with a helmet. Dominic Orsini. No way Spicoli beats us. Right on. Just have to say, I fell in love with the Standing Buffalo in 1969. That's why I stopped by this podcast. Yes, indeed. Beth, how you're doing? I know you had some trouble watching the game or something last week, I recall, from your comment. And yes, that Standing Buffalo. I mean, my first experience with the Bills was listening to Van Miller call the games on the Hi-Fi in the early 60s. And I had to be like 4 or 5 years old, 1964, 1965, 66 in there. Had the old Hi-Fi. You have to be older to understand. That's what they call them, not stereos. What do you even call them now? It's entertainment center, or is this your entertainment setup, or your multimedia delivery system, if you will. But I remember it back then. I met Bills quarterback Dennis Shaw when I was like a Cub Scout. It was really cool. I remember that very well. I don't know how they got him down there, but that was great. Good to see you here. I meant what I said about no Mahomes Burrow. That's a reply anyway. Yeah. All right. Josh is going to show everyone why he's the reigning MVP. You bet. Refs stood in their way last year, not KC. Yes, I remember that. I don't know if you guys have noticed how much stuff is being let go in these games. I even saw it in the college game. Maybe something from on high came down to say, hey, let them play a little bit. Stop. Referees, stop deciding these games on your calls. Woke as joke. Where have you been? No road playoff win in over 30 years scares me. But this is our year, regardless of how ugly it might look sometimes. You got to believe. Got to believe. Remember how the Bills operate. Fight Salah. Now you're just grabbing at things to be right. So the refs made bad miss the field goal that would have sent the game into OT. You're right. It was the ref's fault. All right. No, I digress. You're right. Enjoy the game today. Yeah. What we all need to do is just focusing on that. No, last season the Chiefs had many ridiculous calls go their way. Yes, I mean Dalton Kincaid had the first down on the third. The ball clearly crossed the line to gain, and his toes were on the ground. It was before anything else had touched. And then Josh got it on the next play. So they sodomized the Bills on 2 straight calls. That's, you call it a conspiracy, whatever you want, but that statement I just made is true. All right. Let's keep on. I've been to a half a dozen Jags games. Their fans are soft. If Bills Mafia has a good turnout, I think it could make a big difference. I think they will. Mrs. Ralph was looking last night at the actual I forget what the name of the bar is. We've been there down there because we have dear friends that live in Jacksonville, actually. And so we've been to this place, but Bills Mafia had invaded it. It's near the beach. The stadium, of course, is right down by the river. Steven, if you could speak in our locker room right now, what would you say to our team? I hope you pound on the table on a rant when you're going to learn the fundamental. And when are you going to learn the fundamentals? Thank you, Cecil. Where would you rather be? Oh, my God. It's 1 p.m. Is it 1 p.m. yet? Go Bills. No, but it's 12:27, and I'm glad you asked that. What would I say to the team? I would say, guys, we love the fan base, and we love this team, of course. We love each other in this locker room. But there's a roaring fire that burns beneath that was created back when the Bills couldn't go to the first Super Bowl because Kansas City took it away from them and didn't get to go play Vince Lombardi rather than for his trophy. Or there were the 4 Super Bowl losses that built up a pain and longing in people like me that is just beyond description. It's a lifelong generational thing. And then, of course, this same team ended the playoff careers of Jim Kelly and Marv Levy. This goddamn team today, the Jaguars. And when Sean McDermott broke the drought to go play that first playoff game with Kyle Williams, it was this goddamn team that beat them, the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're ready for this Super Bowl. You're ready to go through it and win this tournament. Because the way December went, we weren't clowning people. We were getting ready to jump. And now you're ready. Now you're ready. So go cut it loose for the greatest fan base on the planet that loves you so much. And to all you guys listening, if you're Bills fans, if you remember the movie Elf, and you remember that James Caan is like the father of Elf, who's, what's his face? You know, the actor that was in it. But at the end, James Caan was just pretending singing, and the kid turns to him and goes, no, you've really got to sing. It takes every voice. Well, it takes every one of you. All you got to do is visualize it. Now, we're going to be together here after this game, whatever happens either way. And we'll talk about it and have a lot of things to say about what that result portends for the future. But for right now, let's go get it. Make sure we are having our comments here. Buffalo coming into the playoffs is underrated. Refs lie to rig games for the favor of the Chiefs. Well, you know, I have a feeling that it's going to be called pretty straight today. So, guys, it's the playoffs. It's the playoffs. The Bills are on the road in Jacksonville. So where would you rather be than right here and right now, ready to be Bills fans? One of the biggest privileges in sport. So as always, be good, do good. God bless, and please, God bless the Bills today. Go Bills. I'm out. This is the Ralph Rant. I am the Ralph. I'll see you about 4:30.